right through the seasons, the rise and decline of great cultures, and the life cycles of stars. It's all about cycles. Every process is characterized by cycles, and in fact the appearances of the entire world, with all of its natural and technological cycles, are images rooted in the archetypal cyclical principle of the monad, represented by the geometer's turning compass. We are cooperating with nature that requires that we recognize the existence, we learn the ways of its omnipresent cycles. That's the theme of the monad, starting with a point. The third all-pervasive principle of the monad involves the area within the circumference. A circle is not just the curve, but it's the miraculous space inside. And this manifests between nothingness, the zero-dimensional point, and everything, which is infinitely many points around the circumference. A circle expresses the most practical and efficient geometric space for natural and human creators to occur. Of all shapes, a circle encloses the most space by the smallest perimeter. In other words, the most enclosure with least exposure. The monad's third principle is maximized efficiency. Look for circles, cylinders, spheres. Look around you. It'll astonish you what you see. The monad, or oneness, expressed as a point and a circle, is the foundation of our geometric construction of the universe. The three parts of the circle, the center, the circumference, and the radius, forms the space within the circle corresponding to the three principles of the monad, which is equal expansion, cycles, and efficient space. These principles, along with the monad's wholeness, are all pervasive. They lie at the foundation of the world's objects and events, as the number one is hidden within every single integer. The monad is knowable to us through its expression in nature's designs and human affairs as equal expansion, cycles, and efficient space. Natural structures are universally recognized as beautiful and most efficient. We, too, are part of the world's harmonious design, and we can't help but express the monad's principles in the things that we do and the things that we create. We are co-creators with God. That's how the Zohar rabbis taught their lessons. We are partners with God in the creation. Everything seeks unity. The goal of the many religions and mythic ordeals is to return to a lost state of divine oneness. But we have no need to return to a state of oneness because unity is axiomatic and we already are integrated in it. And yet we barely recognize our own situation. Right here, right now. And yet we live in a whole and beautiful, harmonious wonder world. Only a self-imposed illusion of separateness keeps us from recognizing our own center of awareness and identity with the One. So, the way the ancients recognized and understood this unity is the ancient mathematical philosophers, they contemplated the principles of the monad through the arithmetic principles of the number one, and they explored its geometric expression as a circle. This illusion of separateness is not a direct characteristic of the monad, but it requires two-ness. The two and other proceeds from the one, because the process of universal construction is to understand how duality and the sense of separation derive from unity and work in the world and ourselves. We must go deeper into the mythical realm of geometry and number to the principle of two-ness, known to the Greeks as the dyad. The dyad is a fascinating thing because from the circle, which is the womb and cradle of our symbolic universe, and it shows us the characteristics of unity. It's everywhere the same, and containing no differences within it, like a pebble tossed into a pond. A circle can only reproduce more circles in its own likeness. The ancient mathematical philosophers saw this in the metaphor of arithmetic. For instance, they noticed that no matter how many times unity is multiplied by itself, the result is the same. You can take 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 and always equal 1. So how does unity, that is oneness, how does it step beyond itself and become the many? How can the monad generate the other principles, the other shapes, and the other numbers? How does the same produce an other? How does the primeval I produce and generate its thou? With a mirror, of course. How it does this is it replicates a mate for itself by contemplating itself. It reflects its own light. It casts its own shadow. The process is mirrored through geometry as the birth of the line. This has been done from time immemorial through an ancient geometric construction called in Western tradition the vesica piscis. From the emanation from a point to a circle of the monad, it mirrors itself, and the overlapping area is the middle central section, the almond shape, the vesica piscis. As if across a mirror, the archetypal line is drawn between the two centers as a straight line. There's the symbolic geometer. The line is a picture of energy. It has tension, force, action, impulse, direction, urge, movement. The straight lines we draw in our constructions represent the tension and the motion between the poles of every creating process. This is the principle of extension. Like a true point, a true line is also dimensionless. Now, in a remarkable treatise that's been attributed to Iamblichus, he was a Neoplatonic philosopher in the 2nd century A.D. This particular treatise, The Theology of Arithmetic, is a discussion of the first 10 numbers and some of their attributes. And Iamblichus has some really interesting things to say on the monad. The ancients understood number as sacred. Of course, that's the Pythagorean theme. Everything is number. Everything has to do with number. Plato, of course, in his ideal city, in the Timaeus, the Cratylus, parts of the Republic, etc., he discussed the themes of the types of rulers that needed to be in the cities, and he tied in the rule with sacred number. The ancients viewed number as teachers of the eternal. The symbolism, the ideas, the themes of numbers matched their ideology of a just and perfect and good world. And each number has its own principles, properties, themes, aspects, delineations, things like this. On the monad, Iamblichus says it is the non-spatial source of number. It is called monad because of its stability. Now, the etymology he's using is from the Greek. It's the monos, which is from the menein, meaning to be stable. He says it preserves the specific identity of any number which it is conjoined with. For instance, 3 times 1 is 3. 4 times 1 is 4. It doesn't turn the number into a different number. It helps preserve its identity. That's one of the functions of the monad, he says. Everything has been organized by the monad because it contains everything potentially. And this is the theme. This is very reminiscent of our modern theoretical physicists' theme on the Big Bang. When the universe originated, it originated from a pinpoint dot, and everything was in that, infinitely packed together down into an infinitesimal dense point. Now, this is hard to grasp, But this is the theme, the symbology of the monad. Everything exists in it, at least potentially.